Economy ticket prices are up 21% from a year earlier to an average of $570, while premium seat prices rose 17% to an average of $1,444 per trip. And this is according to data released April 16th. Going on to state, despite higher fares, bookings have remained resilient amidst these changes, which is an encouraging sign, says the JetBlue Airways CEO. In addition to the closing of certain airlines, the global conflict that has been amidst us for several months now is also affecting the ticket prices because of gas, fuel. Not only are we seeing this with vehicles, we are also seeing it with airline tickets.
Guess how much I just paid for a plane ticket? I paid $486 for a plane ticket. And you're thinking, well, that makes sense. Plane tickets cost that. You must be taking a little trip, going somewhere a little fun, right? No. Do you want to know where I'm going? I'm flying from San Francisco, California to San Diego, California. I'm literally flying in the same state, and it cost me $486. I don't leave to another state. I stay in one state the whole time for an hour. It's fine. $486. It's a hour flight. Oh my God.
This is an expat immediate crisis. This is a financial crisis. This is an American airline economy crisis because ever since Spirit Airlines closed down, and maybe even a little bit prior to that, the prices of domestic flights in America have been unhinged. I mean, it's to the point that it's actually more affordable to just travel within Africa, which is unheard of because Africa is notoriously more difficult and expensive to travel. But wait until you listen to this full video. As you have heard, these flight rates are crazy. The CEOs of these companies, Delta, all the different Southwest Airlines, everybody, they're like, listen, the consumers are resilient. We're going to continue to increase the price. Right now, flights from Ohio to Indiana, which is literally a 3-hour drive that we would take all the time as children in the summer, literally 3 hours by car, about maybe 45 minutes to an hour by plane, if not less, is $800. I can literally fly from Mauritius to Spain for $400. This is a huge issue. Leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think. And is this going to get better? Like, is there a world where the flights get cheaper in America? Or is this the great lockout, the great lockdown, where Americans won't be going anywhere or doing anything?
Man. Make sure you like the video. But the most important thing is make sure you listen. Because we've been saying this every time we talk about flights, every time we talk about oil prices rising and stuff like that. And, it's going to hit the American people, the American citizens, the worst. We just saw Spirit Airlines shut down. And then they were talking about they going to cut back on flights in O'Hare, right? International flights.
O'Hare, Chicago.
So that means that, domestic flights is going to be more expensive. And it's crazy that we say these things and then it happens
Quickly.
And so for me it's like, yes, it's going to be more expensive in America, but now the script is flipping. So Africa is probably going to be more or less expensive flying than America. So that's something to think about. This is why we say sooner the better. If you keep waiting, it's just going to be a higher cost of every single thing.
Yeah, the longer you wait, the more expensive it gets. The longer you sway between one decision and another, the longer you're confused, the longer you're like, I don't know if this is going to work, the more pricey and expensive it gets for you. If you're an expat who already pays attention to flights, you know that you need to book between 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. in the morning, use a VPN, you do your proper research to know what
Tuesday,
hubs are going to give you a better chance at finding a cheap flight. For example, within Africa, if you are in the Southern Africa region and then you're trying to go almost anywhere else in the world, it's going to be cheaper than flying from West Africa. These are the things you need to pay attention to. These are the things you need to know. This is what we talk about with our clients. Like, this is why we say before you exit America, There are things that you need to do, understand, and know strategy that
Hmm.
has to happen, because these flight prices are not going to decrease. As you can see on the screen, we are adding in some of these places. Literally, it used to be more expensive to fly within Africa because you could get from Miami to Columbus, Ohio for maybe $150, $200. You could get from California to New York for a couple $100 or less, depending on the season you went in. But I mean, this is unheard of. These are flights that are flying domestically in the United States of America. They're maybe 2 hours long, if that, and they're 800, 900, sometimes $1,000 plus. So can you imagine what the rate is going to be like in the fall? And remember, the owners of these companies have said, you guys, you Americans, you're so great and resilient. You are just taking those prices like, just like it's just cool, like a hit in the chest, like, yeah, give us
People,
higher
yeah, people
prices.
still gonna
We're
pay.
going to go. The demand, understand economically, if they understand the demand is still there, you are still paying for these expensive tickets. That gives them no reason to lower the flights. Okay, y'all still doing your summer vacations, all the summer whatever. People are like, dang, this
Yeah.
creates a level of demand where they're like, I don't want to miss out. It may get more expensive, so I'm gonna just put it on a credit card. If you go on TikTok, these Americans, they're like, listen, I know I can't afford it, but I'm gonna take out a loan. I'm gonna put it on a credit card and worry about it later. Because guess what? I'm going to be flying. Now, you also have to pay attention to the fact that most of the world actually doesn't fly as frequently as Americans. Like, it's kind of unheard of. Americans are a little bit bougie, a little bit spoiled. They feel
Mm.
like they have the right to just fly all across and do whatever they want. Remember, only like 10% of the world, if that, even has the ability to fly that frequently. And so Americans are going to have to wake up and realize that traveling by plane is a privilege. And it's going to
Mhm.
be more difficult for Americans because if you take your counterpart Europe, on the continent of Europe, you can go from Spain to Portugal to France. Probably you could even get over towards like Albania and those places by bus, by train. They're not overly reliant on the flights the way that America is. In Africa, there are places you can go. You can drive from Tanzania to Kenya, Kenya to Ethiopia. You can travel from South Africa to Botswana to Namibia, Namibia to Angola. You can go and just travel like that instead of having to do it by plane. But
Mhm.
Americans are like, no, we're going to pay that higher price. Now that Spirit Airlines is gone, there is no more competition to the bottom,
Yeah.
because Spirit was known for cheap flights. Economically, it's obviously of a success story or of a positive outlook for these companies, for Delta, for Southwestern. They're like, oh, great, we found a solution for the gas prices. Americans are still willing to pay. But unfortunately, if your flight is less than 4 hours, you won't be getting water or snacks. So you better eat before you go. If you're flying domestically, you want to pay that 1,200, that 900 real quick. When quite literally, if you lived in
Yeah.
Africa, if you lived in Asia, if you lived in Europe, anywhere other than America, you could get flight tickets much more affordably to like international places.
Yeah. No, that's something that's different. You might have to pay for the bathroom pretty soon to get on the like
The
to go to
bathroom
the bathroom.
subscription.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like so with the flights being so expensive, you might think like, well, maybe I can drive to my destination that's maybe 3 hours, 4 hours away. Now you got to deal with gas prices.
Yeah.
The inflation with gas. So that's why we say like, yes, it's gonna be expensive in Americans for, or that's it's gonna be expensive for Americans that's in America. This is why we say your cost of living is very important. If you're outside of America still making US dollar, that's going to be a benefit for you. But if you are inside of America still making US dollar,
Ooh,
it's going
it's
to,
getting eaten
yeah,
up. It's
yeah,
getting consumed.
fast, fast. We were talking to our mature adult attentive clients, and they were saying like they can't go in a grocery store without spending like $300. And that's maybe 3 or 4 bags. So
One
think,
person
yeah,
or
no, just a couple,
okay, a couple.
yeah, a couple,
Wow.
a married couple, and it's just like, man, I can't imagine being there with my family, a family of 8. You get what I'm saying? Like
Paying
that's going
these
to be
rates.
very, very expensive. So it is a blessing to have a lower cost of living, and that's going to be the biggest flex in 2026, 2027. That's
Yeah,
going to help you out so much.
yeah,
But you got to do it sooner than later.
yeah.
Really.
Right, because I just can't imagine, because it's obviously not going to get better. The oil prices are not going to go down. People were saying like, "Hey,
They
this
already
reminds
said it.
me
Yeah.
of COVID. During COVID times, we thought that it was going to be temporarily higher food prices. Food prices never went back down in the United States of America. This is going to be the same thing." You're like, "Oh, it's just temporary for the Iran war." But it's not. The flight rates in America are not going to go down. Today may literally be the last chance you see a $800 ticket from Columbus, Ohio to Indianapolis, Indiana before it hits 1,200.
Hmm.
Especially because they already told you
And
people
they
are
have to do
willing
it.
to
Yeah.
pay.
They have
So
to
that
do it.
means they're going to continue to increase the rates, which